Hey, Steve here with Pro Rider West Georgia, and I wanted to come to you today and give you some resources and tools that I use so that I'm able to be successful and efficient when I'm out there setting up my courses and when I'm practicing. These are going to be things kind of like cones. So I'm going to have some cones I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I use to measure my courses, and I'll give you some resources as far as websites to be able to get some measurements and courses that you can practice on your own. So follow along and I'll get you all that information. So if you're following along on Pro Rider West GA on our YouTube page, you'll notice that we've started doing a weekly skill builder. The weekly skill builders are going to grow on top of each other, and eventually you may want to have some extra equipment to be able to get it precise as far as your measurements and just have some cues that you can use to be able to be more successful with the drills. First thing that you're going to need is obviously the measurements. I will give you those in the skill builders, but if you're getting to a point where you're wanting to go a little bit farther and do some of your own drills, some websites that you can use are setcom.com. It's basically the radios that we use as police officers. That's one of the resources we have. We have Setcom and PVP. Those are the two that I'm aware of at the moment. But Setcom has some rodeo style course measurements on there. If you look at those, it goes beginner, intermediate, and advanced, then has rodeo, I believe. All you have to do is go on there, click that resource, look up whatever course you want, whether it's the double 360, the slow cone weave, has a whole bunch on there, and just follow those and measure it appropriately. You can print them out, you can just look them up on your phone and measure them that way, but that's one of the resources we use. There's also some more websites out there. Just look up police motorcycle cone course measurements, and there should be plenty of information out there to get you started. So the next thing that I recommend is getting some cones or some things that you can look at on the ground to make sure that you're going within your parameters. So if you need to, you can go to a parking lot and use some parking spaces. They're typically about 9 feet in each parking space. So if you go 2 parking spaces, that's typically 18 feet. 3, that would be 27. And that's just a good way to gauge what you're able to do. What I have are these cones that I bought from msf-usa.org. They're about $1.50 a piece, and they don't slide around. That's one thing that I really like about them. I was thinking about getting some of those plastic ones that you use in like soccer practice, but the issue with those is that if it's windy, a lot of times we're out practicing on big flat open parking lots. Unfortunately, that means that there's no protection from the wind, so they're going to fly around if there's any bit of gust of wind. And we don't want to be chasing around our cones. We want to be practicing going around our cones. So these are grippy, so they're not going to get pushed out from under your front tire whenever you're riding your bike. So they'll just pop down and pop back up. They move a little bit, but it's not too big of an issue as long as they're not flying across the parking lot. You can also use tennis balls. So if you get a large batch of old tennis balls, that's usually not very expensive. You can get like 40 something for $40, and that means you get technically two cones out of each one. That's another option that people use. Pretty easy to put them back in the original container, and they're easy to transport that way. So there's some options that we have for cones or for visual cues on where you need to be while you're doing these drills. So the next thing that we're going to be needing is tape measures. So a way to measure our distances that we're using for our drills. So I've got 3 tape measures with me at all times. I've got a regular tape measure that's 30 foot. I've got a 100-foot tape measure, and I've got a 300-foot tape measure. So I'll show you those real quick. I'm not going to show you the 300 one. I didn't bring that one inside. But what I have are, I just went to Harbor Freight, got a 30-foot tape measure. It's a few bucks. It works well. It's sturdy, and if I break it, it's cheap. So this is the one that I like personally because, like I said, it's sturdy, it's cheap, and it works. Also have a 100-foot tape measure wheel that I have right here, and it's great for measuring those longer drills. So if you're doing the slow cone weave, which we're going to get to in a couple weeks, you can go out 100 feet with this one. Don't go out 100 feet, go out to about 95. If you go out to 100, it's going to unwind itself. So keep that in mind. But you can go out to about 90 feet and get quite a few cones set down at 15 feet apart. So that's another option you have. And then the 300-foot one is what I use for if I'm doing drills like the 30-mile-an-hour cone weave. That way I can get it spaced out far enough. I don't have to take this one and move it halfway through. I can make it I can pull it out to 250 feet make the line taut, and then mark my measurements from there. So it makes it easy that way. That way I don't have to keep moving tape measures, the distance that I need, and I can keep the line straight. Makes it a little bit more convenient. So those are the 3 things that I use. If you have any other options out there, that might be a better thing. I know there's those measuring wheels that people use that you just roll on the ground. One thing I find with those is that it's harder to keep a straight line. With these, you have a visual. It's literally a line on the ground that you can tell if it's straight or not. So yeah, those are some of the options that I use. Another thing that I have are these concrete nails. So nice big nail that isn't going to bend whenever I'm hitting it into the ground. What I'll do is I'll find a crack in the ground. I'll go ahead and hammer this in there. So I keep a hammer with me. Found this one on the side of the road at one point while I was working, and I used it. I use it now for my classes and whenever I go out there to practice. But just hammer this in the ground. Then all you have to do is take your tape measure, put it on the end of here. That way you can get a tight line and you can get an exact measurement. You're not having to have 2 people. You can do it with just 1 person, which is super nice. It's always nice to have someone out there with you, training with you, but unfortunately, reality makes it to where that's not always possible. So we've got our concrete nail, our hammer. Next thing is chalk. So I just stole my daughter's chalk. And the chalk is used just so that we can mark where we are wanting to put our cones and starting them. What I do is I just put like a little dash right on the side of it, and you can either do an L, so that way you know exactly where it's at, or you can just do a line and then just make sure you put it back on the right side. But you just mark where your cones are, mark where your starting spot is. You can mark the pattern, so you can do like arrows saying go this way, this way, this way, so that you don't get confused. And yeah, just keeps you a little bit more organized while you're out there practicing as well. And these are all things I can fit on the motorcycle. Last thing is that I use in class is I have these pool noodles that I give to my students. I give them the option to use them. I have them take their rear saddlebags off, so that way they don't accidentally scratch those if they have, a Harley Davidson or, a bike with rear guards. We'll have them put them on the front engine guards and on the rear drop guards. That way their bikes aren't getting scratched up unnecessarily. Now if you go to motorcycledropguards.com, they're a great product on there. A lot of different people are recommending them. I know the guy, I've spoken with the guy recently about doing an affiliate thing with him, but he has a great product on there. It's an actual metal guard that protects your primary cover, your front and rear guards. So that way you're not scratching up your guards at all. You can replace them. You can, well, not replace them, you can repair them. He said he's had the same pair on his bike for 13 years. All you do is you just fill them with some weld, grind them back down to where they look new, polish them, and you're good to go. Don't have to buy a new set. So there's some options that we have for keeping your bike safe, putting things down in the ground to make sure that we are able to get easy measurements and being a little bit more efficient while we're out there. So there you have it. That is a good start to getting what you need equipment-wise to be able to do these drills and have some good visual cues as to what you need and to set yourself up for success. So all these tools that I've explained to you are things that I can personally fit in my saddlebags while I'm going to go train, so I don't have to take my full trailer. I've got a full trailer that I take from class to class because I've had to have a cooler, seats, canopy tent, and all that. But these are all things that I just take over to the Harley Davidson dealership near me, set up some cones, set up the measurements, look up what I want to do that day, and can get it done in about 20-30 minutes as far as getting some good training in. So if you have any questions, let me know. But other than that, y'all ride safe and like, follow, and subscribe, and leave any comments with any questions.